Hi, good morning children. Welcome to the online class. Today we shall learn about heterotrophic nutrition. In the last previous class we have learnt about autotrophic nutrition. In today's class we will discuss about heterotrophic nutrition. Each organism in this environment is adapted according to the availability of the food available in the environment, whether the food source may be mobile or stationary. Some organisms obtain their food by the availability of the food material and how it is obtained. There are differences between these organisms, maybe the intake of food. In some organisms, the food is taken from outside the body, broken down into smaller parts and absorbed by the body. Example are like fungus, mushrooms, yeast and bread molds. In some other organisms, the food is taken inside the body and broken down inside the body. This depends upon the body design and functioning of the body. There are, in some other organisms, we come across in plants and as well as in animals, where the food is obtained by the plant and animal without killing the animal or a plant, but obtaining their nutrition. This type of nutrition, we call it as parasitic nutrition. Parasitic nutrition. Obtaining the food without killing the host, maybe the plant or the animal. Examples are like lice, leeches and tapeworms. This which we have familiar. I think many of you, if you won't wash your hair properly, I think some small kind of insects will be in your head. That is nothing but lice. They will be obtaining their food by sucking the blood of the humans. This type of nutrition we regularly see. That type of nutrition we call it as parasitic nutrition. Now students, we'll see how nutrition takes place in single-celled organisms. I think you all are familiar when we use the word single-celled organism. First, single-celled organism, first we get to your mind is amoeba. Amoeba is a single-celled organism where the entire body is made up of a single cell. That single cell helps in digestion, taking up of the food, even digesting the food, even throwing out of the food is also involved by the single-celled amoeba. In amoeba, I think amoeba is a single-celled organism, all of you know, where entire body is made up of only the single cell. Amoeba uses a finger-like extinction called as a temporary finger-like extinction called as pseudopodia. With the help of this pseudopodia, the amoeba takes its food. When the food particle is near to that body, the temporary finger-like structure I told, no, the food particle is fused in this pseudopodia and taken up where digestion takes place, and the undigested food where the complex the food is changed into the food vacuole, where food is fused into food vacuole. Complex food is broken down into a simpler one, and undigested, unwanted food is removed from the surface of the cell. This we come across in amoeba. Now, other example that is about another single-celled organism, that is paramecium. In paramecium, the body has a definite shape. With the help of cilia, the small hair-like structure present on the surface of the body helps the paramecium to take the food and helps in the nutrition at a specific spot. This is what we have learnt in our single-celled organism. Today we are going to discuss about nutrition in humans. Let us recollect what we have learnt in the earlier classes. Firstly, let me define nutrition means obtaining food and using it, isn't it? Now, in nutrition, we already completed autotrophic nutrition, and now today, and even heterotrophic nutrition. Now, nutrition in humans. Digestion is a process in which complex food substances are converted into simple food substances. Digestion takes place in the buccal cavity, where food is crushed by the teeth. Then the food enters from the buccal cavity to the esophagus. Now let us see the diagram. Human alimentary canal. First a swan neck like esophagus, a pot just like pot structure, stomach. Next comes pancreas. Next comes it is large intestine. Next a coiled small intestine. Esophagus. It is stomach. This is a large intestine. Small intestine. Here it is liver. This is pancreas. Now, digestion, nutrition in human beings. Digestion is a process in which complex food substances are converted into simple substances. Why the food should be broken down into smaller substances? Because as we take intake of food, we are eating solid food and that should be digested. broken down, digested and used by each and every part of the cell should receive that food to get energy. Isn't it? So, to accomplish that work, food has to be broken down from complex food substances to simpler ones. Now, firstly, the food is grinded in the buccal cavity with the help of teeth. In the mouth, there is saliva. Saliva contains an enzyme called as salivary amylase, which converts sugar into maltose. Not that everything, the food which we take, whole food is converted into maltose. Only 30% of sugar is converted into maltose. From there, from the buccal cavity, the food enters to esophagus through peristaltic movement. I think you know, peristaltic movement means the contraction and expansion of esophagus causes peristaltic movement. From the esophagus, the food enters to the stomach. Stomach is a large organ. As soon as the food enters to the stomach expands. Stomach contains gastric juice. Gastric juice contains HCl. Next it contains pepsinogen. Next it contains mucus. Now I will say the function of hydrochloric acid, HCl, pepsinogen and mucus. As the food is reached the stomach through esophagus, from the esophagus, in the gastric juice we have hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid helps to kill the germs. I think sometimes by doing our work, even though we wash our hands properly, some kind of germs will be present in our food which we intake. At that time, HCl helps to kill that germs. Next, HCl is responsible where pepsinogen is inactive in the stomach. It makes active, converts it into pepsin. Inactive pepsinogen is converted into pepsin with the help of HCl. Where pepsin will help in the digestion of proteins. Very important one. Next it activates pepsinogen into pepsin. Next, mucus. Even mucus protects the walls of the stomach because the concentration of HCl is 1.8 pH. In order to give protection to the stomach, mucus glands, mucus secretion is very important by giving protection to the stomach, walls of the stomach. Now from the stomach, the food enters to the liver, where liver secretions are called as bile juice. Bile juice. In bile juice, we come across bile juice helps in the emulsification of fats, means digestion of fats. Emulsification of fats means breaking up of complex or fat molecules into smaller molecules is called as emulsification of fats by the bile juice in the liver. And after the food passes from the liver to the pancreas, in the pancreas we have 3 enzymes, that is trypsin, lipase, now trypsin again helps in the digestion of proteins. Next, lipase helps in the digestion of fats into fatty acids, emulsified fats into small fatty acids and glycerol. Now the food enters to the small intestine. From the pancreas, the food enters to the small intestine. Small intestine is an coiled one, which is the longest part. Due to its extensive coiling, we can see the food where chemical digestion of food, complete digestion takes place in the small intestine. Small intestine also have some digestive juices where carbohydrates are breaks up into glucose, proteins into amino acids, fat into fatty acids, and glycerol. They enter to the, so that they can enter to the bloodstream. Now we'll see, let us focus this diagram one more time. Food from the esophagus through peristaltic movement enters to the stomach. Stomach contains gastric juice. The gastric juice, hydrochloric acid is present, pepsinogen is present, and mucus is present. The work of HCl is to kill the germs and makes active pepsinogen into pepsin, which helps in the digestion of proteins. Very, very important one. Suppose children, you may have doubt. If they may question also, if hydrochloric acid is not present in the stomach, what would happen? Isn't it? If hydrochloric acid is not present in the stomach, digestion of proteins does not take place because it activates pepsinogen into pepsin, which is very, very important in the digestion of proteins. Next, we'll come across mucus, where it gives protection to the stomach. The walls of the stomach are protected due to this mucus membrane lining inside the stomach. Now from the stomach, the food enters to the liver, where it secretes. Secretions of liver is called as a bile juice. It contains trypsin and lipase. Trypsin again helps in the digestion of emulsified fats, where emulsification takes place in the bile juice. Emulsified fats. Next, lipase again digests the proteins. Next, the food enters to the small intestine, where complete digestion takes place. And now we are going to see in the esophagus. I think in the human being there are two pipes. One is windpipe, one is food pipe. When we intake food, food should go through food pipe only and air should go through windpipe. At that time, this should be covered. It is covered by a layer called as epiglottis. Got it? It is covered. Then it enters, the food enters to the food pipe. Suppose we are taking the food, it should be entered through the food pipe and this should be closed. Got it? And this will be continued. Okay children? Now that is through food pipe, the food reaches the stomach. Now we'll see what happens in the small intestine. Small intestine, absorption of nutrients takes place in the small intestine. Small intestine contains a small finger-like structures called villi. Finger-like structures called villi on the walls of the small intestine. We find this. They are richly supplied with blood vessels, so that each and every part of the cell can reach, should be supplied with that food to get energy or nutrients. So this villi helps them to absorb the food. Like the food is broken down now, the nutrients are absorbed. Carbohydrates are broken down into glucose, proteins into amino acids, fats into fatty acids and glycerol, and then it is directly entered to the bloodstream through this villi. From the villi, after the food enters to the where complete digestion takes place in small intestine. Now the food enters to the large intestine, where in the large intestine no digestion takes place. No digestion takes place in the large intestine. Only absorption of water takes place in the large intestine. Okay, children? And then absorption of water takes place and undigested food is thrown out through anus. This is anus, and undigested food is thrown out through anus. This is what the complete digestion takes place in human beings. Is it clear, children? Now, the questions are, the process of digestion begins in mouth cavity. Options are given. Option A, mouth cavity. Option B, stomach. Option C, small intestine. Option D, esophagus. Say the correct answer in your homework given to you. Second question, HCl is secreted by intestinal juice. Option A, intestinal glands. Option B, gastric glands. Option C, both A and B. Option D, buccal cavity. Third question, pepsin gets activated in low pH, high pH. B option. C option, neutral pH. D option, it is always active. Say the correct answer in your next class, children. By this I end my nutrition in humans. In the next class we will be discussing about respiration in human beings. Okay, children? Thank you.